We're live!
All right, hey guys, it's Alicia Stringer here, and this is the Millionaire Mindset Hangout. We have every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we're so excited you came and joined us today. We have a special guest, Amy Starr Allen, coming, and she told me when we set this date today that we had someone cancel out because they were sick, and she said, well, I need to go to the doctor. And so she's been messaging me on how she's progressing this morning on her appointment, and said it'll still be a little bit of time, so she should still be able to jump on and give us some golden nuggets of what she's experienced to help us get to our millionaire mindset. In the meantime, we have several different insights that we each want to share with us to help you guys get on a more focused millionaire mindset, as we've come through a lot of our training and experience through the hangouts we've been on, some of the different calls we get on, and through different books we read. We have a lot of different nuggets we've shared on. So here I am in Nashville, and it's been rainy out here today, so I'm excited to introduce the other panel members and give you some golden nuggets of how we can stay focused to keep our millionaire mindset. So let's go over to Valerie over there, which should be in California, in LA.
It's not rainy here. I was recently up in Vancouver, as you guys all know, and that's the land of the rain. It rains all the time. You know what? It's funny because I've learned to love the rain. My family, this is all about the rain. The rain cleans the air. In Los Angeles, when it rains, we get all excited because it cleans the air. There's always about a positive perspective on anything that's going on. So, yeah, so I'm a single mama. I got my twin 4-year-olds. I give right up front a little naked kid alert if someone's rushing by, just saying. They're settled in the other room right now, and we're going to be talking. Keisha had some great points that we're going to go through. A 3-step process that she's going to get into, and then we're going to all comment on that until we get Amy here. Hopefully, she'll be able to make it with us this time on our hangout. If she doesn't, we will reschedule. For speaking about what's here now, there is a button below that you can click on, and at any point in time, click on that, and you can get connected with us, a trial to get access to what it is that we are doing, that we get access to a lot of all those resources that we're talking about. So I'm going to pass it on over to Keisha.
Hello, everyone out there. And ladies, I'm so excited to be on this hangout with you once again this week. Hello. We're missing Greta today. She has been ill, and we miss her smiley face. So, Greta, we love you. But I'm here in Philadelphia joining these phenomenal women here on this hangout, and we're so excited to have Amy Starr Allen on today. She just blew me away at the last event that we were at, all three of us together, and I had a major breakthrough listening to her share her powerful story. And that's why we have this hangout, so that you out there that's watching today, those of you that's watching the replay, that you can get the shifts that you need from these powerful leaders such as ourselves, Alicia, Valerie, myself, Greta, and all of the leaders that we have on these hangouts. So today we have some great information for you on how you can get clear on your, goals and the things that you want to achieve in life, your dreams that maybe you put off, that you've maybe been slow to take action on. We have some tips for you that's going to help you make that shift so that you can be a more powerful action taker. I know Alicia has some powerful information that can help you in your business. And guys, I'm just excited to get going. So Alicia, back to you.
Okay. She has some really golden nuggets we're going to share with you. And one thing I thought about when you're making steps toward your mindset, there's some different process that you go through. And we're going to talk about some more the 3 steps. And I've got this little, they say it's a qualification series because I've been reading this, I don't know if you can see it, How to Master the Art of Selling. And when you think of selling, I always think of, that's just another industry or something, but it's really something that we're all striving to get something accomplished, something done in our, it takes a mindset to steer it in the right way. And it's been really interesting to see a lot of the different motivations and demotivations and stuff that comes out from this book. And this one has a little sequence that you can find out. And we talked about last week in the mindset of the word want. And I know there's some words that you want to eliminate from your vocabulary that can be very powerful to your mindset. So, and that was one of the words, is want. And so I was thinking the opposite of as needs. Well, it's just kind of clarifying how you use the word needs. And this one is actually spelled a little differently. You spell needs like N-E-E-D-S, and this one is N-E-A-D-S. And each one of them has like something that goes with each word, right? So it helps you remember it. The N stands for now. And I think we always live in the present. It's very important to live in the present when you're thinking of your mindset of how you're going to get things accomplished. This talks about qualification, somebody to take an action, and that's what you want to get into the now present time. So that's what the N stands for. And when you move on to the E, you find out what they enjoy, and I think that kind of sparks your passion, right? What do I really enjoy? And it really comes out where everybody finds out their why. And my why is, making sure that I'm providing for my daughter, and usually your kids or most people's why, or if they're paid, of that they don't want to go back to that job or something that they're don't want to do anymore. So I think that E is really important to really understand what you enjoy, and that comes a part of your feeling, definitely on mindset, on how you're going to feel about yourself and illustrate how you're going to be that champion you want to be in your life. So it has a few stories on how you really apply that E, the enjoy, in your life. The next one on needs, we got now, enjoy, and A is a little different. I was kind of taken back on what A is. And this one is altered. And I think once you find that now present, you find what you enjoy, that altered state is something that you need to change something. You need to break something down. You need to make sure that you're set up for how you're going to alter your process to make sure you can live in the now and enjoy what you want to focus on. So I think that was really key to think of that altered state of mind where you want to improve something, in that process. So it's really interesting to see this process in there. So you got the now, you got the enjoy, you got the altered, and the D is decision. What will you make in the final decision? And I think that's really neat to see how the process came from, you want to live in the now, you know what you enjoy, and you find ways that you need to alter it, and now becomes the decision time. We all have to it comes to a point where you have to make a decision. It's either a no or it's a yes, and there's really no gray lines in the decision. It's either you click the button or you don't, and there's a timing in that factor, and I think that's important to understand. There's a point where you come to that you have to make a decision. It's either no, not right now, or some part of no, or it's a yes, you're going to move forward in the final decision process. And I think that's important to understand that break and point of time, that you're completing the word needs to this decision time. And the final one is S for solution. You're fortunate today to find the solution for your needs. What would you be in position to proceed? And you find that solution, and the decision that you make to move forward, to put into action, and things that you want to put inside your life. And so I thought that was really interesting little process, that it came with this little qualification sequence of how you make a decision, and really focused on a lot of the mindset based on those decisions. So I'll review those one more time for the needs. The now, the enjoy, the A for altered, D for decision, and S for solutions. So I hope you wrote those down. I hope those were helpful for you and your process of that. You're helping making decisions out there, fixing your mindset. What's what do you need fixed, and to help you get to that next step, to that millionaire mindset. So I'll bring it back over to one of you ladies that want to come out and say anything about that or add some more tips and tricks that you have.
Well, that's great. I have a question. So was that the needs? Is that a process for explain to someone in order to make that sales decision, or is that set up as more an internal thing to make for ourselves in making personal decisions and taking action in our lives? How is that presented in the book?
On qualifying a person, you know, to get if they really want to proceed in what you have to offer.
Okay, so it was in the process of going through a sale and helping in assisting someone to make their decision to purchase your product, basically.
Yeah, like a sequence of questions, and we all go through that ourselves internally, and we can aid the person that we're helping to make the sale.
Okay, so it's about getting them focused on the now, getting them focused on what they enjoy. For the altered, was that to getting them into an altered way of thinking, of looking at things differently than they normally look at things? Is that what that was about?
Yeah, to help you make sense in what you want to accomplish.
Okay. Oh, and we got Amy. Yay!
I'm in my car.
Hi, Amy.
I'm going to be driving. I have to drive and do this at the same time. I just got out, so
Okay.
bear with me.
Focus on the driving, and we'll see you. It's all good.
Yeah. Awesome. Welcome to the Millionaire Mindset Hangout, Amy.
Thank you. What did I miss?
Well, Alicia was just going through some tips that she learned in the book. We were just sort of giving tips until we were able to get you in here and get you on.
And I actually thought it was very powerful. She talked about, last week we talked about eliminating the word want from our vocabulary. And the opposite, and what I was thinking about was what word would we use in that place, and which Alicia said would be need. And I was thinking the same thing. And she just gave acronyms for that needs, but it was NEADS, and I think it was really good. If you wanted to just at least just speak on that, or we could just jump right into Amy and sharing your powerful story for all of our listeners out there. Amy, we could do that also.
Yeah, I'd love, because Amy's moved heaven and earth to be on this right now.
Yes.
We'll be in the car that we focus in on Amy. I would love to do that.
Okay, so what do you want me to do? What do you want me to say?
Well, I can help out here. This is something that you can just, what we'd love to do. Keisha was talking earlier about how what you did when you were, your last presentation on stage. You were so powerful. Keisha had a very powerful shift. You were mentioning that, but we would love to know, and I mean, we wanted to talk a little bit about that, but what we always love to ask folks is to say, what did you, for you personally, what was your biggest mindset shift that led to your success? What was your biggest mindset shift that led to your success, and how you got to that shift?
Yeah. The shift came from an Inner Circle audio, and I remember it. I don't remember exactly which audio it is, but when I first got into Empower Network, I've always done the 8 core commitments, and one of those commitments is to listen to these Inner Circle audios every day. And as you heard when I told my story on stage, like, I was at a point where I was doing the work, I was in action in the stuff that I was doing before Empower Network, but I wasn't getting where I wanted to go. And so I knew that it was something within myself that was stopping me. It wasn't necessarily the vehicle. There was other people in my company having success, but there was something for me. And so when I started listening to these audios, I'm stuck behind a bus right now. When I started listening to these audios, this one audio, now when we first started listening to the Inner Circle back then, there wasn't nearly as many audios as there is now. So I listened to some of them. I listened to most of them multiple times, and I listened to some of them many, many times. And there was this one, I should know the name of it, but I don't. And it was David Wood. It was one of the very first audios in there, and he would talk about how making money is easy. Mm-hmm. And I was like, no, it's not. That's never been my experience. Like, my experience was that there always had to be struggling involved, suffering involved, time away from my kids. grinding it out, doing stuff that I don't like to do. Like, that was what I thought needed to happen in order to make money. So when I heard him saying making money is easy, I thought to myself, he's full of it. Like, no, it's not, you know. And anyway, I listened to that audio probably 20 times, you know, because I just, every day I was listening to something. And I remember one day having this shift where something clicked. I don't know exactly, you know, I remember where I was standing. I remember everything, but something shifted in my mind, and I, like, got it. I was like, making money can actually be easy. And from that moment on, money started, like, flowing into my bank account. It was crazy. But, you know, part of it for me was actually taking the coaching, being coachable, which is not something that I've ever been very good at. But I used to fight with my gymnastics coach. I used to fight with my sponsor in my last company just because I always thought I knew better. And when David Wood was suggesting that we, you know, stop talking to our team members, stop trying to train our team members, and just, if they have a question about something like SEO, you tell them what product they need to buy to get the training, usually the 15K. Has all the different training in it. And he was saying, rather than you teaching them that, tell them to buy the 15K and they'll get the training from somebody that knows more than you about it. And for me, that was really hard because I was used to, like, nurturing my people. In network marketing, I had always really been, I talked to my people on the phone multiple times a day, especially if they were in action. And, you know, nobody was really getting very far, but that's what I was used to doing. And I was used to talking to my sponsor all the time on the phone and everything. So part of that shift was really just, like, believing him, trusting him, and doing what he said. And so all of a sudden, I wasn't spending all this time on the phone. I was pointing people to the 15K formula, and I was making $1,000 commissions hand over fist. And it was like, wow, making money is easy. Now I'm making more money than ever, and I'm doing way less work. So anyway, that was a big shift for me to, I don't know if that is kind of what you were after, but that was a big one for me, for sure.
That's actually very, very, very huge. That's huge. So something just all of a sudden snapped as you were listening to that audio over and over and over again, where you were able to just all of a sudden something shifted inside where you just that it was easy.
Yeah, and I'm such a huge fan of that product, the Inner Circle. And I tell my team all the time, you know, when we have our hangouts and stuff, I talk about it all the time. I think they're sick of me saying it. But I honestly believe that that product is what has caused my success. And it's caused, I know I'm not the only one. A lot of people think that there's got to be a strategy. What's your strategy? What's your, you know, Facebook strategy or whatever? And I always say, my strategy is listening to the Inner Circle every day. That's my strategy.
Because it totally affects. Because you were doing the exact same. You were doing the same.
I think there's plug in there for that product.
Yeah, that's actually that's so powerful. I love that you were listening to the same thing, but then all of a sudden it's like there was you had a different. All of a sudden something shifted inside, even though it's the exact same thing, and you were listening to it, just trusting. Eventually the information you started shifting inside and had this massive shift. I love that. I love that, Keisha, because I know you had a very powerful shift with Amy. Do you want to ask her, connect with her on that and on that part of her story that she was talking about?
Sure, Amy. And I would love it. And I know there's many people out here that know who you are. But if you could give a little background, because when I actually heard your story, I resonated so much with your story because why we're doing all this is because our family. We want to create legacies for our family. And I have a network marketing background as well. So I know you come from that industry where, like you said, you were taking the action. But when you got your mindset right and learned, you know, we have the vehicle here, but it was the mindset. But if you can just give a little bit of your background for the viewers so they can truly understand how powerful that shift was, that would be great for me. Did you hear me?
Yeah.
Amy? Okay.
Yeah, you were breaking up for a minute, so I didn't really hear the last piece of what you were asking me to talk about.
Just give a little bit more about your background, how the shift, because you were with this other company for so long, and until you had that shift and made a decision to just do this vehicle that was there for you, how that played out for you.
Yeah. Yeah, well, yeah, like I said, I had been with my other company. When I joined Empower Network, I had been with my other company for 9 years. And for a lot of that time, I was really playing full out as far as I knew and doing everything that I could, and I just couldn't understand why I wasn't getting the success that I wanted. One of the hugest things that happened for me when I joined Empower Network, besides the inner circle training and, like having that shift, a lot of times for me, the shift comes after listening to the same thing over and over, the same, those same audios over and over, because we learn new things every time we hear it. But another huge factor of it for me was that, as I just mentioned before a little bit, that when I was in my other network marketing company, I spoke to my sponsor on the phone like 5 times a day for 9 years, constantly. I didn't do anything without him like telling me it was a good thing to do. Like he was holding my hand, and I was doing the same thing for my team. And so when I joined Empower Network, one of the most empowering things about it for me was that I never met my sponsor. I joined through a link in an email, just because I was so sick and tired of not getting where I wanted to go. And I knew who David Wood was. I heard he was starting a company. The first email I got about it, I clicked the link and joined. And I never met my sponsor. He never called me. He never reached out to me. And so I was, I had made this shift in my mind where I made a decision that this was going to be the vehicle for me, no matter what. And it wasn't about how much support I was going to get from my sponsor. It was just about, like, I'm going to do this no matter what. And so my sponsor not having reached out to me and talked to me at all was actually a blessing to me, because it empowered me. It forced me to do everything on my own and figure it out on my own and succeed on my own. And, the people that was what allowed me to be able to tell other people that this is possible, and tell my team this is possible. When my team thinks that I need to hold their hand, it's like, no, you don't. I didn't even have a sponsor. And if I hold your hand, you're not going to be empowered, So that was a huge piece of it for me, was just really the fact that I just did this completely on my own, and anybody can do that, because that's the beautiful thing about what we have here is all of the training, mindset training, and marketing training that we need is inside of the products. And so if somebody really wants to succeed here, all they have to do is make the same decision, like make a decision that they're going to make this work and plug into what we have, and anybody can do this on their own. So that was a huge lesson for me. A lot of people get, there's resentment when their sponsor isn't really in the picture much. And I always, to me, I see it the other way. I think that was a huge blessing for me. And the funny thing about it, that I think I mentioned on stage with my sponsor, once I had my first $10,000 month, he called me and said, I've made a lot of money in pass-ups from you, and he wanted to know who I was. But until then, he had never met me. And the funny thing was, he asked me to train him. He said, because he signed me up, but he never really was building Empower. He just had some income coming in from it, but he never even focused on it or marketed it. And then, he called me. He's like, I've made all this money in pass-ups from you. Will you show me what you're doing? Which I thought was kind of funny. So that's how we ended up meeting.
That's funny.
Did I answer your question?
Sure you did. You did, of course. Yes, you did. The whole struggle to triumph also is what really resonated with me, and how you really, like you said, made a decision, and you just, no matter what, you were going to do it, and that's what really resonated with me.
I give it.
Yeah, well, I believe that's what it comes down to, right? I put up that Yoda quote, which is one of my favorite quotes: "Do or do not, there is no try."
Right.
I mean, because that's what stops people. They say, "I'm going to try this thing. If I make some money, then I'll commit to it." And the thing is, you'll never make money if that's how you approach it, because nobody's going to want to join you if you're trying it. When I jumped in and said, "This is it. This is what I'm doing. This is where I'm planting my flag, and I'm going to make this happen no matter what," people latched onto that vision, and that's why people started to join my team, because they saw my commitment. So when people say they're going to try it, those people, it's really, really rare if somebody with that, that mindset ever actually succeeds, at least in my opinion. And in my experience, I haven't seen a lot of people succeed that way.
Well, I would love to somebody to try to pick up a glass of water. You either pick up the glass of water or you don't pick up. I mean, I've got Yoda in my head right now. There is no try. All right.
One of those words you eliminate. I had a different insight. My daughter fell down on the concrete, and I was thinking, how do you teach your team? Do you just bring them out there on the soft grass like you would your baby, knowing it's going to be a soft fall for them, they're not going to get hurt, and teach them how to walk? Or do you bring them out there on the concrete, they're going to get skinned up if they fall? It was like my daughter got all skinned up. Oh, I fell in the concrete. I was like, well, that was a hard lesson. You probably shouldn't watch out and not fall in the concrete anymore, right? And so that might be a hard lesson to learn, that concrete's going to hurt, and you might as well just do it right the first time and not just try on this soft grass. So, different ways you look at it, just make it happen.
Yep. Well, and I think it was David Wood that used that analogy about watching his son learn how to move his hand, or when we watch our kids learn how to walk. Mm-hmm. They're so determined to learn how to walk. Nothing's going to stop them from doing that. And this is the same thing. Like, when I got into Empower Network, like I said, I didn't have any support at all. But I was like a baby learning to walk. It's like nobody can actually, really teach somebody to walk. You just got to figure it out. That's how babies, they just figure it out, and that's kind of how it was for me. And like I said, I think that's one of the most empowering things about the process. And I think that's something that David Wood teaches that a lot of people don't get it right away. Like they feel like they need their sponsor. It's all about their sponsor and how much support they get. And I think it's not. It's actually the other way around.
Exactly.
I don't know if you feel comfortable talking about some of whatever your story of which you came from, but there's a lot of folks that have a lot of personal struggles in their lives that they may be going through. And one of the things I found so powerful with you was that you took your struggles and the struggles can become an excuse, or the struggles can become a force from within that moves you forward, that becomes part of your power and part of your story, to inspire others that no matter what's going on with them, there's hope. I don't know how comfortable you are with mentioning any of that, but it was something that was extremely powerful for me.
Yes.
About you and your story.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if you guys were on the Empower Hour call two calls ago with Elena Fraga. She said something that I loved, which was something along the lines, I have it written down, but I'm not in my house right now. Something like your current struggles become your story in the future, or something like that. Yeah. And so when I was asked to speak on stage, and I was talking with Chris, my business partner, about it, he was like, you should really share this and this with people. Like, hardly anybody even knows some of the stuff that I shared. Yeah. And I was like, really? I don't think people really want to know all this stuff. Like, this is heavy stuff, And he said, no, there's people that can really relate to that, and that's going to be the most powerful thing. Yeah. Well, it's funny because I shared some of the really, crazy, hard struggles that I went through in my life. I mean, I had so many people come up to me for the rest of the weekend telling me, like, that's what inspired them. That's where their breakthrough came from. Because I think a lot of people feel like, well, if I've been through this, or this, if I've been, like some of the things that I shared, just to gloss over them, but, some of the big things that have happened in my life. My mother was killed in a car accident. I am a recovering drug addict and alcoholic. I've been in an abusive relationship, like all this stuff. And I think some people walk through their lives with this identity badge, thinking that they're not good enough, or they don't have what it takes to succeed, or whatever it is, because of the circumstances that have happened in their past. And the fact of the matter is, we all have circumstances. We all have a story. We all have, whatever it is. And you know, to me, like some of that stuff that feels like something maybe that we should be shameful for, like yeah, I went through bankruptcy and it didn't feel good at the time, but I've never even talked about it in public until I was on stage that day. And people can relate to that. When they know that somebody's been through bankruptcy and they're able to turn their life around anyway, like that's inspiring to people. And so I do feel like, you know, no matter what anybody's been through, if you're determined enough, you can succeed. And a lot of times, you know, like for me, yeah, my why is my kids, and being a single mother, you know, I could either go work at some corporate job somewhere and be away from my kids all the time to make the kind of money that I want to make to provide an extraordinary life for them, or I can figure out how to do it on my own so that I don't have to be away from them. And that's what I chose. And it wasn't easy. I mean, I struggled financially for a long time because of that choice. But I knew, like, you know, I honestly believe that if your why is strong enough, that, you know, it will eat you alive. If you're, you know, you have a dream that'll eat you alive if it doesn't come true, that the chances of you succeeding are really, really good. Because who doesn't achieve their dream if it's going to eat them alive, if they don't, you know? And so I really believe that that's one of the keys. You can do anything you set your mind to, regardless of your past. I mean, that was one of the biggest breakthroughs that I had, and it was through a lot of personal development work and stuff where I finally made a decision, like, I don't have to be what I'm identifying myself as anymore, because I was walking around with this identity, like, you know, I have abandonment issues, and I have intimacy issues, and I'm a recovering alcoholic, and I have all these issues, right? And so when I finally decided, you know, I'm going to just forget about all that and create my future starting today, we all have the power to do that. And so I think that's the beautiful thing about the struggles that we go through, is that we learn that, you know, from those struggles, they make us who we are, but they also are our story. And I actually read something. I was just in the doctor's office, and they had this thing on the wall today that I took a picture of because it was really long, but it was really cool. The title of it was Dance Like Nobody's Watching, but one of the things that said in there, I'm sure you'll see it on Facebook later because I'm gonna I'll post it up there, but it said something like, I'm always waiting for my life to begin, you know, like waiting for, you know, until, you know, I get out of debt, or until I make this much money, or until I'm married, or until my kids are a little older, until I have kids, or whatever. And you know, like the idea is to live life today. And, you know, I forget exactly what it said, but there was this one part of it that I loved that was about how, you know, feeling like you can't really begin until you get through these certain obstacles. And then you have the epiphany that these obstacles are my life, right? These obstacles are never going to go away. That's what life is. So it's not about like overcoming all the stuff and then, you know, and then the seas part and everything's like normal. It's never normal. I just came out of the hospital getting a freaking EKG. I'm like, what the hell is going on? You know, like there's always something, right? So, I don't know. I love that because I feel like we all have a story. We all have baggage. And as hard as all that stuff that I shared was for me to go through, you know, one of the personal development courses that I did, you know, people get up and kind of share parts of their story. And what you get is like, you know, I'm not any different than these people. We all have stuff. This one woman got up and she was like extremely overweight and she had all these health issues. And she talked about how when she was a baby, her parents threw her in a dumpster and left her there to die. And somebody rescued her, and by the age of 10, she was a prostitute. And blah, blah, blah. When I heard her story, I was like, my story is like nothing. It's like a cakewalk compared to that, right? You know what I mean? So that's why I kind of got to the point where I'm like, you know, like sharing our stories, I feel like that's how we really connect with people, sharing from the heart, and people can relate to our story because we all have one. And it might be a little bit different, but, you know, it was amazing to have so many people come up to me and say, that same thing happened to me, or I really related to this part of your story because I've been through that. And it's like, you know, yeah, we've all, you know, I'm not unique. There's nothing unique about me as far as all that, as far as my past goes, you know. We all have our own stuff.
Right. And what I love so much about the community that we're in is that with all the personal development, with all the connections that we've had, we've learned to reframe those things. We've learned to look at them differently. Like you said, we have to go through it. But if you look at it as, not necessarily as something that's going to take you under, but something that made you stronger, to make you a stronger woman, to get through those things so that you can get to the next level of your life. That's what's so important. And it's so important to be surrounded by those people like Amy, like Alicia, like Valerie, and myself, who will support you and believe in you and encourage you and inspire you. And I just thank you so much for your story, Amy, because you truly, truly inspired me.
Yeah, and I love what you just said, Amy, about that everything, all the obstacles and things that are going on. This is life here right now, and that we can still. There's not about waiting to enjoy life or waiting to. It's here now, and that there's because it can be used as an excuse for moving forward and taking action. And I think it's so powerful. You just went for an EKG and you're here. You got in your car and you hopped on with us. I mean, that in and of itself speaks volumes of who you are and what you do in your life. And I mean, just that alone. I mean, folks, I appreciate you so much for being here and sharing, and it just says so much about everything about you, about just what you just you, the mere fact of what you're doing right here, right now, with us, right here, is so powerful.
I couldn't wait to be with you, girls. Way better than being in a hospital, I'll tell you that. But yeah, I mean, life's about living in the moment, right? And yeah. We never know. We never know when our time is going to come or whatever. And I feel like I just, sometimes some of the struggles that we go to in our lives are good wake-up calls for us to remind us that, we need to stay present and really enjoy every moment, and so that's part of it.
I'm giving a big cyber hug. Enjoy.
Alicia, that sounds like what you were talking about, being in the now, enjoying all of those things is a part of the sales process and getting people to connect with us. Just all the same thing, right, Alicia?
That's right. We need to make it all happen all together. You know how so many different companies, the biggest reason why a lot of people take action going, you see that wrinkle and then it's gone, or you see that big fat person and they're skinny. Here we have transformation of lives. We have, our story of struggle, and we have winning power that we created outside of it. And there's something that you really can't take a picture of, but it's something that we know from inside that we are a changed person. We are a changed we've changed through this process, and no matter if it's your wrinkle is gone now, or you're skinny again, or whatever transformation you make, it all starts with your mind. And that's how it's so powerful that we get these insights, especially from people that are driven like Amy, and knowing that we've gone through so much, that what was that trigger that set us apart in that. So thank you so much, Amy, for coming on and sharing with us that major shift with us, and to get inside some of those inner circle audios and listen to that one she was listening to, and ingrain this hangout, tons of other hangouts we've done too, to really get more insights to how you can change your life, and what can help you get that shift to help you move forward. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And Amy, if you had for anybody that might be watching this that's new to all of this, and they're here and they're looking at our page, whatever, and because we obviously we have income disclaimers at the bottom. We have whatever the big button of what it is that we do. If you had one piece of advice for somebody very brand new watching all of this, what would that be?
Like, as far as what is this community? What is Empower Network?
In terms of, there's somebody that's sitting there and they're looking at this and they're seeing this and they're wanting to they're looking to make a decision. They're looking to make a decision.
Yeah, I would say, just make a decision, because I think a lot of people, especially I've had a couple conversations with people recently they've been in the JOB world their whole lives, working 9 to 5, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And that's, for some people, that's all they know, that's all they want, and that's fine. But recently I was talking with a guy who he's working like 65, 70 hours a week, and he's he's in his mid-40s, and he's not happy. Like, he's just like, I don't want to do this for the rest of my life. And he keeps saying, I don't understand. I see your stuff. Like, he's like, I see your stuff on Facebook. I see you talking about the stuff, but I don't know if I could do it, or I'm scared because this is what I know. And, my piece of advice is just that, we all start at the same place. When I got on, decided that I was going to make money from home on the internet, I knew nothing about the internet. I didn't even know. The first event that I went to was an internet marketing seminar, which, by the way, when I first got into internet marketing, it was before Empower Network, and I had to get on a plane and go to seminars to learn stuff about how to market on the internet, because there wasn't amazing training like we have right in our back office. And the first seminar I went to, I raised my hand and asked the question, what is a domain name? And people were laughing at me because they were talking about domain names, and everybody knew what it was, and I didn't even know what that was. So my advice is, we're not born with a keyboard in our hand. Nobody starts more advanced than anybody else in this place, because it's just a matter of, how bad do you want it, and plugging in and learning it. And if you're working full time and you don't have a lot of time, well, then it might take you a little bit longer than somebody that plugs in and studies, learns what they need to learn for 18 hours a day. And, but the fact of the matter is, anybody can do this. And it really is a simple decision. This is not a huge decision that you need to, you're going to go out today and spend more money on coffee and lunch and whatever than it costs to even get started here. And you don't think all day about that decision, spending that money. So I would say, make the decision to see behind the curtain. All you have to do is join and see behind the curtain. And once you see behind the curtain and you see what we're talking about, and you can plug in and listen to these Inner Circle audios and see what this community is all about, and see what the training's like, and see what the products are like, then you'll have a much better understanding about what this is and how it works and all of that. It's for me, it's almost painful when people sit there and struggle and feel like they have to talk to their spouse about a $25 decision. It's actually, it's ridiculous. It's like that decision, when I made that decision, I didn't even have the money. I don't even know. I put it on a credit card. I don't know what I did, but I don't think I put it on a credit card because I was bankrupt, actually. But in any case, I got in with, I spent the food money or whatever I did, and it's the best decision I ever made in my entire life. Because not only did I spend the money and get in, but I made a decision the day I did that this was going to be the answer for me. And it has been the answer for me, and it's been the answer for a lot of people. So that means it's possible for it to be your answer too. And, it's, as long as you want it, it can be. So that would be my advice.
Thank you. And with that, what we're talking about is literally right there below us. So on the page, that accessible right now in front of you. So thank you so much, Amy, for your time, for your heart. Especially now, I'm telling you of your courage on stage when you spoke your story, because you moved so many people. I was one of them.
Thank you.
Such appreciation for you on so many levels. So.
Well, that was a dream come true too. That's the other piece about that. I'm honored and I'm just so humbled by all the amazing comments people say, like yours. But that was, again, just when I look back, I'm like, I can't even. In some ways, I'm like, I can't even believe that happened. I've been saying I want to speak on stage for 3 years, and that's what I mean. When you don't take your eye off the prize and you keep going for what you want, stuff happens. I don't even know how that happened. All of a sudden, I got the call, and I was like, oh my God, it just happened. So that's the thing. Rhonda Swan did the Empower Hour last night, and what was the girl's name that was on with her? She was awesome.
Sarita.
Yeah, Sarita said. She said, when you commit, the universe starts to move towards you. I love that, because it's so true. When you really know what you want and you go after it, the universe conspires. Yep. It does every time. That's been my experience with every goal that I've had. So thank you for your kind words about me being on stage. But just also know that was a pivotal moment in my life, just having that actually happen. Because again, it's just proof that you can accomplish anything you set your mind to.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
All
Right.
And thank you, and everybody, folks. This is here, and the recording here. This is one of those, again, I would also recommend watch it again because you're going to get something out of it even the second time you watch it. Just like the inner circle. It's very powerful. Thank you so much for joining us, and stay tuned next week as we have other very powerful guests coming. And thank you so much, Amy. Appreciate you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you,
It's been
Amy.
fun. Thanks for keeping me company on my way home.
Yeah.
Sorry about that too. I planned on being like in my office, but you know.
Perfect. It's perfect. It's all perfect.
All right, click the link below. Join us, guys. It's powerful.
See
We're
you
here.
on the other side.
Thanks, guys. See you next week.